Hello then, welcome to another video by LNERFAN 4472. Today I'm going to be starting another how-to video. This how-to video is obviously because you've seen the title. This is a tutorial on how to do ballasting. Now ballasting is something that needs to be done. As soon as your track's laid, as soon as you know where everything is going to go, ballast is the very first thing to do. Now ballast is really important to get right, especially when it comes to point work, because you could end up damaging the points in such a way that they won't work anymore and you won't be able to run any more trains. But it won't happen as soon as you get some practice on just normal track. And if you're really nervous and you've never ever done ballasting before, I recommend just setting up a separate section of the layout and just putting a piece of dummy track down and just getting a piece of practice on that and how to ballast. But it's really straightforward. I was really nervous the first time I started doing it as well, but now I'm a pro. I'm a boss at doing points. Well, not really. I do them to the best of my ability and I think they come out really well. The main aim with ballasting is to not try and get a lot on top of the sleepers, because in real life it's not really like that. I know in some modern stations some of you will say to me, oh, there is a lot of ballast on top of the sleepers, but back then, according to my research on images, it wasn't like that back then. In case you're wondering, my layout was set in the 60s and the 50s and things were taken care of in a mediocre way, shall we say. But that's what we're aiming for, and that's what you should be aiming for when it comes to most layouts. But for now, we're going to forget points. We're just going to focus on just general ballasting by itself. Now, first thing we're going to do is just go through all of the things that you will need, all the essentials and necessities that are required to do ballasting. So first we have a measuring jug. If I just bring that close to the camera, a measuring jug. Preferably you want to use an old one that you don't want anymore, because you don't want this will get stained and it will smell with glue, and you don't want to be making scrambled eggs that smells like PVA glue. So a measuring jug. Let's have a bit of a closer look at that. As you can see, it's getting old. We need a new one, and I just thought I'd use it for this video. So a measuring jug. Next is a water bottle. Let's have a look, like this, that you can spray. Just like that. It's just full of ordinary water, nothing else, nothing special about it. As you can see by the colour branding, you could probably guess that this is from Homebase. They do sell these quite cheap in Homebase, and they're just anything, just for spraying water, really. Nothing special about them. But we'll come on to the purpose of this in a bit. So you need that. And next one is some PVA glue. You can use any PVA glue, really. It doesn't really matter, so long as it's PVA glue. I use home-based wood adhesive, PVA adhesive and sealer. This is absolutely fine for the job. What I mostly recommend you do is buy it in bulk, because it's much cheaper, and don't do what I do and just keep buying it in bottles all the time. Next is some Persil, or if you want, you can use some washing up liquid. I won't show that for long because of copyright reasons. But basically, like I said about the bottle, I'll explain the purpose of this fully when we start ballasting. But yeah, just a Persil and some Persil. Just a little bit of advice: you don't need a lot of this stuff. Literally a little drop, and that's it. So that, if I just bring that into shot, there we go. And now we need the ballast itself. So I'm sure you've seen this in a previous video, but I want you to ignore all of this just up here at the moment. This is the ballast we'll be using today. It's a very fine, small kind of ballast, and this is absolutely fine for ballasting. There's nothing wrong with it. Bit of advice though: if you want to make the job a little bit easier for yourself and minimise the time to work you want to be working on ballasting, I recommend using a larger kind of ballast. Gauge Master do many types of ballast, but there are lots of other companies like Noch, I don't know how you pronounce them, Noch, and other people out there that do produce many types of ballast. What I mostly recommend you do is don't do what I've done, once again. Try and find two different types of ballast to mix together, because it will make things look a lot more realistic. And you can mix even more together in certain parts. For example, if you're doing an 80s layout where there'd be lots of diesels or a diesel depot, you can make the ballast a lot darker, a lot greyer, a lot blacker, because obviously there'd be oil spillages everywhere. But like I said, we're doing the steam era, kind of picking up into the diesel era. That's the 60s, the dawn of the diesels, if you like, and the death of steam. Well, the resurrection later on, anyway. Okay, so this is everything you're going to need for ballasting. I'd say this is everything you need. This is everything you need right here. Obviously, we need the ballast. We need this PVA glue, The sprayer, you need the sprayer, guys, you really need the sprayer. You can order these online for about £1 to £2, it's not going to cost you much. And one of these, just, well, you don't have to use a measuring jug. You can use, what I used to use is one of these, where you can kind of just see what you're putting in there. But what you're looking for is a 50-50 mix of PVA glue and water. Okay, so let's move on to the layout and we'll start ballasting a section. Now, some of the small things that you don't really need, but I'd highly recommend you get just to make the job easier. A brush, just to spread the ballast around. This is a makeup brush from my mum. A crafting knife, just to get into those little nooks and crannies where you can't get into, or using your fingers would make a bigger mess of things. A pipette or a syringe of some sort, just to get the ballast out of the beaker and just apply it to the ballast when it's on the tracks. And just a little square plastic cup or beaker, if you like, just to hold the ballast and save you using your fingers all the time. Just comes in handy. So you don't need these, but I'd highly recommend you get them just to make the job easier and make it look a lot better. Okay, so the most important thing we need to do is sort out our gluey mixture before we start ballasting first. So here we have our jug, here we have our water. I'd recommend you take this off for doing this part, because we're going to be pouring some water in and we don't want to be here for the rest of our lives just spraying water in there endlessly. So we're looking for a 50-50 mix of glue and water, and like I say, a drop of Persil / fairy liquid to go with it. So if we pour away, we're not going to be doing too much glue today. That'll do for me to actually put a bit more in. That'll do just fine. So then we set this aside somewhere where it isn't going to fall over. And then we bring in our PVA glue. So now you want to make sure you're giving it a good shake before we obviously put some in. So now let's put some in. That'll do just about fine, I think. So if we move our glue aside as well, and we grab our Persil / fairy liquid, and literally, guys, a tiny drop of this. There we go. Did you see the little reaction between the glue? Little reaction between the glue and the water there. Next, what we need is to mix it up, and we're going to do that with our pipette. You want the water and the glue to be nicely mixed in. As you can see, we kind of put a little bit too much Persil in, and it is starting to bubble a little bit, but that's not a problem. Allow me to explain the purpose of the Persil or the fairy liquid. Basically, what it does is it allows the glue to penetrate right to the bottom of the ballast, so it soaks in nicely. So what's at the bottom isn't just going to keep piling up. The more you put on, it's going to try and spread out nice and evenly. Okay, so I think that should do us. Make sure you get a better pipette than mine. This isn't the best one. So that's the kind of consistency you're looking for. You're not looking for a kind of water consistency. You're looking for a kind of creamy consistency. If you've ever seen double cream, the one with the blue packaging, that's what you're looking for. Nothing more, and that's absolutely fine for the glue. Obviously, mix more up if you want to do a lot of ballasting, but ballasting does get really tedious after a while. So I'd take it in steps. And if you do want to take a break, don't throw the glue out, just put something over the top of it, like a piece of paper or a magazine or something, because then that'll stop it from sticking to the edges of the bowl, and it'll keep the consistency will stay the same. Okay, so here we are at the extended section of the layout, ready to start ballasting. There's nothing you need to do to the track. The track is here. It's absolutely fine. The other thing I'd recommend you do is plug the gaps between the rails with some sleepers by cutting off some chairs and just sliding those underneath so it looks like all one continuous piece of track, which this does. Therefore this is ready for ballasting. That's all you need to do to the track, nothing else you need to do, because once you've laid your ballast, it's a real pain to rip up, guys. Make sure you get it right first time, but no pressure at all. Just take your time, don't rush into ballasting. It's not something that needs to be done straight away. You can do it in sections, you don't need to do everything at the same time, so don't worry about that. So as you can see, just over here, you can see my hand comes over here. Here we have all the ballast inside our little box. Unfortunately it won't fit in shot because of the size of the tripod. And we have our glue as well. And we just have this little plastic square, well, cup if you like, or whatever you call it. But basically what we're going to do is we're just going to scoop some ballast out of here like this, just so we get a nice load, just like that. Now, the trick with ballasting is don't put a lot down, because you'll end up having to get rid of some. Put little bits down at a time, spread it out, and if there's anything that needs to be plugged, just sprinkle some ballast on with your fingers. So let's make a start. First we're going to start by pouring some in the centre of the track, or in the 4-foot way for those who know. Okay, that's all we'll be doing for now. As you can see, we've got a little bit that needs a bit more there, there we go, and a little bit just there. So that will do us absolutely fine just for now. This is not going to go onto the outside, and this is not going to go in the 6-foot or in the 10-foot, so we'll be absolutely fine. So if we take our brush, just start spreading it out nicely. As you can see it does go quite far. You don't want any ballast on top of the sleepers. Remember, you can use brushes, you can use your fingers, you can use crafting knives. Well, I'd recommend you be careful with those. Make sure you spread it in both directions just to make sure you plug everything. It saves you pouring more on. Although don't be hesitant. Now, ballasting does take a long time depending on how fine the ballast is that you're using. I'm using a very fine type of ballast, so it will take a long time. So there we go, that's kind of what we're looking for the 4-foot way. But once again, if there's anything that you don't like, that you personally don't like, don't be afraid to go grab a crafting knife and just move bits of ballast around and manipulate them into where they need to go. Okay, as you can see, I've moved the camera a little bit closer just so you guys can get a general idea of what you're looking for with ballasting. Like I say, you don't want any ballast on top of the sleepers or anything. And if there's any that will cause too much disarrangement, like I say, just grab a crafting knife and just manipulate pieces of ballast. With larger types of ballast, this isn't really much of an issue because it does find where it wants to go a lot more easily. So as you can see, that looks alright. You don't want any ballast on top of the rails or near the rails or anything like that, because that's how it looks in real life. So if I just look behind here, there's nothing there. And this is kind of what you're looking for, guys. Obviously we're not finished yet. We need to do the 10-foot and the 6-foot. No, that's the 4-foot. We need to do the 10-foot and the 6-foot. So we need to fill these in with ballast. So at the moment we just need to imagine that this isn't here. So let's do this bit just here now. So we'll begin again by just pouring some ballast down. This is a part where you will be using your fingers a bit more. Okay, so as you can see, got a nice load of ballast down, it's covering up the cork, and what you want to do is just press it down with your brush. As you can see, that kind of presses it down and spreads it out a little bit, because if you start going like that, then it starts messing up this bit that you've done just here. Okay, so as you can see, we've got that nice and spread out. It's not perfect yet, still got loads of ballast on top of the sleepers, so this is where your thumb really does come in handy. So just get your thumb and just drag it like that, and it takes the vast majority of the ballast off the top of the rails. There we go, and then just scrape some out of there. If you want to avoid what I'm doing at the moment, because this is very tedious, then buy yourself some larger ballast, but don't get something too big, so it'll look terrible. So this is kind of what we're looking for. That's looking really good already. I do take my ballasting very seriously, as you can see. Don't make it look too perfect. I know that may sound rich coming from me, but you can't make it look too perfect, otherwise it'll just look too scripted and it won't look very realistic. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a bit of a gap here where we do need a bit more ballast. In this case, just get some between your fingers and just sprinkle it down like that. A bit more maybe. That'll do fine. And then if lots of ballast is going walkabout, just brush it back like that. Once again, just take our finger over the top. There we go. Crafting knife comes in handy for scraping very fine bits of ballast off the top of the sleepers. Okay, so that's kind of what you're looking for. Don't be afraid of these protruding different types of, well, not types of ballast, if it protrudes in different lengths, because that looks quite realistic and you don't really want to be altering much to do with that. So that should do us for this small section for now. I'll go off camera and I'll finish the 6 foot way, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Okay, so here we are. This is the end result. This is what you're looking for. Very, very good. No ballast on top of the sleepers. Make sure there's no cork protruding through. If you can see any brown, well, excluding the sleevers, if you can see any brown kind of cork colour, then just sprinkle a bit of ballast on top and then just tidy it up a little bit, and then that should be absolutely fine. But that's what you're looking for. That is the kind of ballast you're looking for, people. Well, the kind of ballasting that you're looking for. Now, we're getting into the gluing phase now. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get the ballast wet, and we're going to use this for that. So we're just going to give the ballast a nice spray with water, get quite far away so you don't just mess with the ballast. Make sure the power's off when you do this. Won't harm it, it's just better so you don't get an electric shock. Make sure it's nice and wet, not too wet. You don't want to make an Olympic swimming pool out of it. That should be enough. That's maybe a bit too much actually. I think that should be okay. So as you can see, we've got plenty of water there. Just scrape the rails with your fingers. Don't matter if you get any glue on top of the rails, you can always clean it later on. It's not going to harm the rails in any way, shape or form. So now we want to take our pipette. We're just going to want to get stuck up a nice load of glue, and we just want to put the glue on like so. Don't be shy with the glue, guys, because if you are shy with the glue, then when you go to hoover the track later, you'll find you're sucking up bits of ballast. Although that can be repaired, you're better off getting it right first time. So don't be shy with the glue. Just see the water's getting the glue's getting a little bit runny, but as long as it doesn't take any ballast with it, then it's okay. Like I say, I might have put a little bit too much water on there. Okay, there we go. As you can see, it is getting quite wet. I did put a little bit too much water on, but no harm done, it's okay. It'll soak into the baseboard and it won't do it any harm. Okay, so as we can see, the ballast is, well, not the ballast, sorry, the glue is soaking nicely into the ballast, and if it starts to, well, turn into a ballast colour again on the top, then just add a pinch more glue and that should be okay. Try a bit more in the middle and that should do it. Okay, there we go. That's plenty of ballast there, so put that back in there. That's what you're looking for when it comes to ballasting, guys. It doesn't matter if you get a lot of glue on the top, even if it's on top of the sleepers, it's not really an issue. It'll just kind of blend into the colour, it'll kind of blend into the colour of the sleepers and it won't be too much of an issue. So that's what you're looking for when ballasting, guys. To speed up the process, you can buy a ballast spreader, but I tend to find that it doesn't really speed up the process too much, and it's just as fast as doing it, just sprinkling it on with your fingers or just using a little beaker just to spray it all on. But no, like I say, that's what you're looking for. So hopefully the more you ballast, the more it will start to look like a real railway. And this is the kind of results that you can achieve with employing my method of ballasting. It does take up time, but all ballasting does really, regardless of what you do. You want a nice finish that you're not going to be looking back on later, and you don't want to end up ripping up the track because you don't like the look of the ballast. but this is what you're looking for. No ballast on top of the sleepers, looks nice and realistic, and we can always put some scenery on top afterwards. So guys, that is my guide on how to ballast. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in my next how-to video.